alter, like, they weren't really talking through their problems or resolving things. They would just be fighting and then have sex and then still not have addressed anything. So I didn't like that. And yeah, like, the ending was sweet, but I'm like, how do you really come back from leaving someone at the altar and then getting back together with them years later? Like, I don't know. And then one of them, people were shipping her with this dude, and it was just a whole lot. Like, it was very dysfunctional and toxic. And yeah, the ending was sweet and there were sweet moments, but overall I did not really think these two had any business being together, in all honesty. And the one who left the other one at the altar, I felt like she did not do enough, groveling to get her back. It kind of turned into a, well, I was never seen in the relationship and whatnot, and I was kind of just like, what? Pull up your big girl pants and address that before getting to the altar. Like, I don't know. It just had me scratching my head. But yeah, there were some sweet moments, so I give it a 3-star. But I think this author is probably just not for me. It was also on third-person point of view, and there's some that works with third-person point of view. I actually read a couple other this month where it worked in third-person point of view, but this one, I feel like it just contributed to taking me out of the story. And yeah, 3 stars. I think this author is not for me though, because I've now read 2 of her books and I thought both of them were average. And if I don't really love it, then why would I keep reading, you know? And then I read a few Christmas novellas. So I read Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey and Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria. And both of these were in that some Christmas holiday romance short stories novellas collection from like a year or so ago. And I had read the others before, but I hadn't read these 2. So I did this year. Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria I actually really liked. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really cute, and the tension between the 2 of them was sweet, but it was only a short story, so looking back on it, it's not super memorable, but I remember it was really sweet. At that time, this girl was really busy and hadn't had time to decorate or anything, and then every day she was getting like decorations showing up on her doorstep, and she thought it was from this older lady upstairs, but she didn't know. And then she had this hot guy in the building that she was crushing on, and yeah, it goes from there. Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, though, I did not like. I gave it 1 star. It was just so overly sexual, and like, this guy was coming into the thrift shop she worked at, and she's a single mom, and he's like there to admire her from afar because he thinks she's taken, because he assumes that because she's a mom she must have somebody, which isn't the case. But it was just like every time his inner dialogue was him undressing her and thinking about doing this to her and that to her. And I don't know, maybe if you like a really spicy time, I could see this being really enjoyable for a lot of people, but I just thought it was so odd, and yeah, it just kept referring to the size of him and how she would fit him and whatever, and I was just like, I was not feeling it. So yeah, 1 star for me. And then I also read Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Quinn, which is another like short story Christmas read, and I enjoyed it. This guy is being a Scrooge and writing letters about how much he hates Christmas time, and then it gets sent to his ex, who's back in town for Christmas this year, and he broke her heart years prior, and she ends up writing back, and she doesn't know it's him, and he doesn't know it's her, and they're exchanging these letters about how they both feel like being Scrooges at the holidays now for one reason or another. And yeah, it was cute, but it was kind of average. I loved, what was it? Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Gwen this summer. So I know she can write some absolutely hilarious fun times, but this was just kind of like average. It was fun. It was very Hallmarky, you know, accidentally writing letters to each other at Christmas time, like so very Hallmarky. So it was fun. It was cute, but nothing too crazy, you know. So I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. It was okay. It was okay. I also read the super popular right now hockey rivals to lovers romance, which is Hated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. Rachel Reed is the author of this book. If you are reading a different Hated Rivalry book by a different author, you have the wrong book, and it's most likely the AI slop version that's been going around. So make sure you get the one that's by Rachel Reed. But I watched this show, you know, like all of last month, and I just loved it. I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed. I'm contemplating doing a rewatch of it already because I loved it so much. And so I was like, okay, I have to read the book. It was so hard to find this book anywhere because it was sold out everywhere, and it would say like, buy now and we'll let you know when we have it in stock. And I was like, no, I need this baby. Finally, I found it on Thrift Books. I checked Bingo first, but people were selling it for like $50 to take advantage of it being out of stock places. And I was like, no. Finally, I found it on Thrift Books for like $10. Score. So yeah, but I got the audio hold on Libby to check out from the library before my book came, so I actually listened to it all on audio. I couldn't wait, and now I have the physical book to annotate. But I loved this. This is one that is also in third person point of view, but it's so good that I didn't mind at all. Like, I was so invested in the story. It follows Ilya Rosanov and Shane Hollander, and they're rivals. Shane plays for the the Montreal Voyageurs, and Ilya Rosanov plays for the Boston Bears, and they compete against each other a lot, like a few times a year. And so they're both like the MVP of their team and 2 of the best in the game. So they're competing together a lot, and they meet. And Shane comes up to Ilya and is like, hey, like, I wanted to meet you. You're really good, whatever. And Ilya's kind of like being a little bit, you know, like, kind of like, okay, like, we'll beat you, like, whatever. He's kind of being a little like playa. Ilya's got game, okay? And then after they play, Ilya kind of like makes a move with Shane, and they enter into a 10-year situationship. 10-year situationship in which they are rivals and they play against each other a few times a year, and whenever they play against each other, they'll go back to each other's hotel rooms afterwards and like fuck. And yeah, but obviously they end up getting feelings and falling in love along the way, and the tension that comes from 2 people who only see each other a few times a year and play against each other unmatched. And Ilya saves them as like girl names in each other's phones, because Ilya's from Russia, and whenever he goes back to Russia, like, he can't be publicly out, and it's just a whole thing. But this was so good, so good. Oh my gosh, I love the show. I love the book. I gave it 5 stars. Just something about the pining and yearning that comes from a 10-year situationship. I did see people saying this is situationship propaganda, and I do think you have to know going into it that what happened for them most this is their second chance romance, them getting back together. They're both in the wedding party for their best friends, and along the way, you know, they have to see each other again and whatnot after their breakup. And I really liked this. Kiki and Kai have such good banter. Their banter is so good, and I love good banter. So I really loved that. And there's a lot of other stuff going on as well. Kai lost his father, so there's that backstory, and there's stuff with Kiki's friendships, and there's all that. So there was a lot going on in the book. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. It did get long-winded at times because you're in Kiki's head, and she gets quite long-winded at times and maybe a bit pretentious at times, but overall it was so enjoyable and so fun, and the chemistry between these two is just so stunning. Black excellence, black love, and yeah, I love them. So yeah, I give this 4 stars, which I think is what I gave the first one too. Okay. I've also finished A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. This one I'd been reading for, I want to say, several months on my Kindle. And it tells the story of these two, Jamie and I forget the guy's name. And it starts out when he dates her friend, but she likes him, he likes her, then him and the friend end up breaking up, and then they keep being drawn to each other when they're dating other people and whatnot through the years, on and off for years and years. And at one point she has a personal tragedy that throws them off course and just other stuff, and then he finds somebody, and it's just a whole thing. It's giving Love Rosie, it's giving Magnolia Parks, like it's giving all that. In the beginning I thought the writing was so beautiful and so evocative and really just written in a really beautiful way, but after a while the plot was just pissing me off. Like, they kept cheating on their significant others to be together, but then wouldn't commit and like actually be together, and it was just pissing me off, like, because it wasn't like one person or 2 people, like it was, I want to say, like at least 3 people, and I just felt like they were dragging it. Like, after a certain point I feel like it's like, okay, we done did this 3 times already, 5 times already, like get it together. Like, after a while it was just too much. I was just like cut the crap, like, do y'all want to be together or not? Like, make it happen. So it's kind of how I feel when I watch Emily in Paris. Like, Gabrielle and Emily, like, their relationship started in cheating, and they just kept it going for so long. Like, they were just dragging it, and it's just like, do y'all want to be together or not? Like, if you want to be together, make it happen. Like, why are we still doing this 4 seasons later? Like, so I don't know. I did give it 3 stars though, because like I said, the writing style was very beautiful, and the emotions described very beautifully and whatnot for a lot of it, but the plot was just like pissing me off. So yeah. Which I feel like is kind of how I felt with Magnolia Parks too. And the last romance I have to talk about is Crash Test by Amy James. This is an F1 romance. And you may know I've been really into F1 lately. I was all into it like prior to the championship. I got super into it. I saw one edit on my feed, and that's all I needed to go down the rabbit hole. And then I saw all the Charlos videos of like Carlos and Charles, and I was like, this is so great. And then I saw like all the Lando and Norris videos, and then all the Charles and Max videos, and yeah, I totally got into it because of the ships. But then I went to this donut bar, and they had the game playing the one day, so then I was like actually watching wakes up, and then the other one kind of grabs him, and they kind of put two and two together, and then he tells them. So then the one that was in the coma breaks up with him, and then it pretty much, the majority of the book goes from there. I had mixed feelings on this. I enjoyed the F1 references, because like I said, I've been so into that. And I liked the one who went to see the other one in the hospital. And I liked the part headings, because it's like the shape of the track for the F1 tracks. But the one who was in the coma, like, I did not like him. He was so, like, he was blaming the other one for his family finding out, which was kind of valid. But then he was, like, blaming him for, like, way too much stuff. And then he was just treating him as really, like, disposable. And, yeah, like, I just really did not like him. And I felt like he needed to do way more groveling in the end. And, yeah, he kind of was dealing with stuff because of, like, his homophobic family members and stuff. But still, the way he treated the other one, I just didn't like. So, yeah, I had mixed feelings on it. I ended up giving it 3 stars. But, yeah. I'll do some taps on the mic. weird. Like, Edward's all about the soul and he thinks he's damned. But he had some other beliefs too that I was like, I feel like you can definitely tell a Mormon wrote this, because it was really coming up in this book, like the purity stuff, and then there was something else that was really making it come up too. But yeah, I did not like that. I'm like, what you mean? What you mean? You think Bella's gonna go to hell if y'all have, like, it was just so weird, like, so weird. Edward had his weird ideologies, and Jacob was out here trying to kiss Bella without her consent every 2 seconds, and then Bella, at the end of the book, decides she loves them both and cheats on Edward and has Jacob kiss her, and that she's crying over Jacob and is like, Edward, go get Jacob for me, like, I just don't want him to be hurt. Like, the whole thing was just insanely ridiculous. I was just like, what the hell? Like, I genuinely really enjoyed those first 2 books. I gave both of them 4 stars, but this pissed me the fuck off. Like, no. And then there were also 2 backstories, like 2 like lengthy backstories of characters. One I think was Jasper, whatever his name is, and the other was, who was it? Oh, there was something with the Black family, like their backstories as well, Sam and Leah. But it was just like too much. Like, this is a 4-book series. We already had like Alice's backstory. Like, I feel like you could have put an in-depth backstory, 1 in each book. We don't need multiple in this book. It was just too much. Too much. Oh, and the Volturi are still a thing, and yeah, it was just a hot mess. I gave it 1 singular star. So yeah, that was Eclipse. I will be reading Breaking Dawn, but I had to take a break because I was just like, it was putting me through it. And I was so salty because I was waiting to start Alchemised till after I finished that. And after I finally finished it, I was like, I'm not gonna wait till I finish Breaking Dawn. Forget my goal of finishing the Twilight books in 2025. Like, that's gonna have to wait because I was not feeling it. So I did start Alchemised, and I only have 170 pages left to go. So this will be in my January reading wrap up. But spoiler alert, I can already tell it's gonna be one of my best books of 2026. I love it. I knew I would because I loved Manifold, but I'm loving it. I am a little scared though, because after Manifold, I felt like it kind of ruined romantasy books for me. For the next few months of that year, there was only like 1 fantasy book that stood the test after reading that book, and that was Oathbound. But the others, like, I was not feeling those romantasy books. I felt like they were just all the same. Like, none of them were the same after reading Manifold. So I am a little nervous now that I'm reading Alchemised. Like, is it low-key gonna ruin romantasy books for me for the next few months? Maybe. We shall see. But I'm loving it nevertheless. But the one other fantasy book I finished in December was Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is the 2nd book in the Plated Prisoner series, which is a King Midas retelling. And I actually loved this. The first book in the series, I gave 3.75. It was just okay. This was really good. I gave 4.5 stars. We get a new love interest in this one. We get Faye. We get Girly starting to see through the cracks of the misogyny that she's enveloped in. There's really good tension between her and the new love interest. There's twists, there's high stakes. It was just really good, honestly. Really good. So yeah, I will be continuing the series. I started the 3rd one, and I'm taking a break from it because they do get lengthier after the 2nd one, but I will be finishing the series. And then nonfiction, I finished Here to Stay, which was poetry by deciding to know, you know, to be like no, and to exist in all your fullness and your moreness. And that's something that really resonates with me so much. And I loved it. She addresses her friendship with Ariana in it, which some people think is weird, but she talks about how their dynamic is based on them being committed to love each other fully. And I loved what she said about that. And yeah, it was just so beautiful. I would highly recommend it. And it was very short too. I want to say like 4 or 6 hours, which is short for a memoir, I think. And yeah, it was just really beautiful. I loved it and gave it 5 stars. And then I also listened to Semi Well Adjusted Despite Literally Everything by Alyson Stoner. This one delved a lot into what it means to be a child star and into the abuse they experienced as a child star and some family, dysfunctional family stuff, and yeah, details like abuse they experienced, details their experience with church, growing up having converted to the church and then kind of falling out of it more as they grew more, and kind of details their friendship with Debbie Ryan, and yeah, in the end they really made a point to really hone in on like what child stars face and kind of promoted something they have for like helping child stars today. But it was an interesting read, and yeah, I gave it 4 stars.